We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blues.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Blue Sunday. My name is Joe Lutzer here in Bangkok, and joining me in Melbourne is former president of the Carltonians, life member of the Carlton Football Club, Mr. Vince Lochisano. Good evening, Vince.
G'day, Joe. Bangkok Joe. Nice to see you, mate. And yes, another big win on Thursday night by our Blues, and now we're looking really good for the second half of the season. I think we've got good cause to be very optimistic about the future, that's for sure. After that performance, it was probably the best one of the year, I reckon.
I think so. Now, Vince, our special guest, David, is on a bit of a time time lapse. So we're going to quickly go through some admin, and then we'll get David in. I'm watching something else. I'm watching the timer lapse. So anyway, he's on a timetable. So let's get some admin out the way.
Yes.
Again, Facebook at Blue Sunday or at the Jumper Punch, and we are proudly presented on the Jumper Punch channel. Gee, I'm tongue-tied today. So please smash that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, the show is proudly sponsored by my company, Retired Working For You Tours. So there's the website, www.retiredworkingforyoutours.com, or you can contact me at info@retiredworkingforyoutours. Vince, so...
Hey, Joe.
Yeah?
I've heard a rumour.
What's the rumour?
I've heard a rumour that you're going to appear in some movie over there. Is that right?
Shh. I am. I've been asked to do a part in a movie. I'm playing a news presenter. So when that comes to fruition, I'll get the script and or the scene, and I'll show you. Hey, Vince, waiting for us patient. Oh, before we go ahead, this, as everyone knows, this is a social media show. So your comments, participation is greatly appreciated. You can agree with us, disagree with us. You can say whatever you want about us. Just say something about us and smash that like and subscribe button. So, Vince, joining us, as usual, is Mr. David Rhys-Jones. How are you, David?
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, fantastic. After a great win on Thursday night, it is. That last quarter was absolutely unbelievable. I think made every Carlton supporter happy and thinking, gee, the future's looking very good at the moment.
It is.
Your lovely daughter's having her birthday today, or at least her birthday celebration tonight. Is that right?
2 weeks before me. So, so we're heading out for a bite to eat, and obviously I've got to get there before the food runs out. So,
but you're still off the grog, aren't you? So you can't get there before the booze runs out.
No drinks for me. I'll be the driver tonight, the designated driver for a change. So, still yet to imbibe. I'm heading up to Queensland this week, so anything could happen up there. But never know.
There you go.
Never know. Hey, boys, before we go ahead, we had some tragic news this morning. Someone that probably you two know a lot better than me. I only ever saw him on TV. But John Ragsy Gould passed away this morning. There are some of his highlights. 1963 to 1970, recruited from Healesville. First game in 63, I was 1 year old, against the Dogs. Played 108 games and kicked a whole 3 goals. His last game was in the grand final against Collingwood, and just shy of his 83rd birthday. And what we should mention was that he was a Carlton Hall of Famer and an All-Australian in 1966, 2 premiership medals. Well, I don't think they gave medals then, but anyway, condolences to the Gould family and friends. How well did you know him, David?
Yeah, pretty well. He was a great Carlton supporter, and obviously his health hasn't been great. I probably saw him about 2 or 3 months ago, and he was starting to look old, as people do, sort of thing. So unfortunately, his health was deteriorating, and it wasn't great. But probably the second best number 11 we've ever had in our. I don't think
possibly, yeah.
Put him above Bruce Doyle, but definitely be hard to beat for second prize. But big raking left footer, and
he was a dashing halfback, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was, and a real star of the game. And he used to. He would have been the first with the Wolf if they had it back in those days. So he used to thump the ball, and sad news today, but it's probably more reason we've got the Spirit of Carlton are actually putting on our luncheon this year is going to. And I thought we really need to look at the legends of our club and highlight them, and so that'll be all. It'll be a legends luncheon sort of thing, and we'll try and get as many of our living legends as we can there, and because some of them are not in great health. I know Big Nick. I'm hoping he's out of hospital at the moment, but he was put into hospital this week, into the Austin Hospital for a bit of a look over, and he has a little bit of cancer, I think. So, we don't live forever, so we've got to recognise and try and get these blokes, and remember them while we can. And that's going to be a great day I think it's August the 9th, but people want to go to that. It's always a great function, the Spirit of Carlton function, and we'll be highlighting the legends of our great club. So, and have as many of them there as we can get there.
Yeah, a lot of those legends that played in the 60s especially, and even the 70s, they're starting to get on a bit, aren't they? And we've really got to make the most of our time with them while they're still here. And, time waits for no one, I guess. But sad to see John Ragsy Gould pass away this morning. But, his memory will live on in the minds of Carlton supporters who watched him play back in the 60s and early 70s. But, our thoughts go out to his family, no doubt. But he was a great stalwart of the Carlton Footy Club. He was very well known. And as you said, probably the second best number 11. In fact, I think Bruce Doyle took over the number 11 from him following year. Because do you remember what number Bruce Doyle first wore when he played for Carlton? Yeah, I knew you'd get this one, Joe. Number 4. Who would have thought,
Not many people.
I don't know why he moved, but anyway, I believe.
I'll tell you why he moved.
He didn't want to be on Hollywood Boulevard. That's why.
He was too close to Big Nick, and everyone wanted to be around Big Nick, sort of thing. So he was basically crowded out of his locker. And knowing Bruce, he wouldn't have liked any of the attention there. So he asked to be moved to number 11.
Well, back then he probably would have been, if he was number 4, he would have been between Kevin Hall, who was number 3 back then. In fact, Kevin, I believe, just celebrated his 80th birthday about 2 weeks ago too, Kevin. And Sid Jackson on number 5. So he probably thought I'll get out of Burke Street Mall and go and park myself down in King Street somewhere or something like that.
Anyway, boys,
next to
we got to get moving.
Gallagher number 10.
Yeah. What's that?
Jeez.
It would have been Gallagher number 10 then, wouldn't it?
Barry Armstrong number 12.
Eventually Barry Armstrong number 12.
Armstrong would have been there.
I don't think he started until probably 74 maybe, Armstrong.
Probably.
Anyway, by the way, everyone, if you're wondering what's going on with the 15 for 15 challenge, that officially normally comes to an end at the end of May, which would have been Friday, but we're going to still do a little exercise tonight, aren't we, Joe?
Yes, you've beaten me. I'm going to do it. We're going to do it after we do the scores because we get the scores going. And then for those of you interested, we're going to shut Vince up for 15 minutes, if that's possible.
And I'm going to try and eat 15 arancini.
In 15 minutes. And we want everyone to donate. Anyway, let's get into the scores,
I hope they're
Vince.
big ones.
Now, the thing is, what's important about this, Joe, is not just that I'm eating 15 arancini. We want people to donate. We want people to donate to the cause.
We will.
All right.
Anyway, get through the scores, Vince.
All right, let's get through the game. This was a great game on Thursday night. We really did pass the test. If anyone thought that this was our biggest test for the year, we passed with flying colours. 16 goals, 11, 107 to Port Adelaide's 10-11, 71, a 6-goal win. And as you can see there, it was a very tight game for 3 quarters. Scores were level at quarter time. We were probably a little fortunate in that regard. They sort of had control of a lot of that quarter, but they couldn't quite make the most of it. And then they kicked poorly in the second to only kick 1 goal, 6 to our 2 goals, 3. So we went into half-time with a 3-point lead, but basically anyone's game. And then, of course, the third quarter, both teams scored 3 goals. In fact, it was our turn to kick a little bit poorly. We kicked 3 goals, 5 to their 3 goals, 1. So we really could have had a bigger lead by that stage, but it was a 7-point break, and then whoosh, 8 goals to 3 in that last quarter. And who would have seen that Blues blitz coming in that last quarter? The last time I think we did that in Adelaide, Rhys, was a game, if you remember, around about 2008. I think it was Matthew Cruz's first year at Carlton, and it was a cold, wet, miserable night over there at Amy Stadium, and Port Adelaide were 5 goals in front at 3-quarter time, and then we came home with a magnificent 7 or 8 goal blitz and kept them goalless, I think, and we ended up winning by a couple of goals. I don't know if you can remember that game, but that was in the days of that was in the days of Favola and all the rest of it. But anyway,
Vince, go through the stats.
Here we go. These are the main stats that had a bit of difference between the teams, and not all of them went our way, but some of the more important ones did. As you can see there, the marks slightly favoured them, but mainly in uncontested. As you'll see there, the smaller figure is the contested marks. Port 11, Carlton 10. It was the uncontested marks that was 76 to 68. Hit-outs 39 to Port. Our hit-outs were 33, but again, it all comes down to whether they went to advantage or not. Tackles, we out-tackled them 75 to 60, including 16 to 14 inside 50s. Bouncers, they had a lot more players that took the bounce on, 12 to 3. 1%ers, they had 50 to 41. Scoring shots, we ended up having a lot more scoring shots, 27 to 21. And our inside 50s, we really did pump the ball inside 50 a lot during that game, 55 to 40 for them. Inside 50s efficiency, well, that was a little bit more in their favour, 53%, but that's only because they had 21 scoring shots from 40, whereas we had 27 scoring shots from 55. So pretty similar there. Shooting accuracy, 59% to Carlton, very accurate in front of goals, 16 goals, 11 to 10 goals, 11. So that really did help us. And, of course, the biggest lead of the game, you'll see there that they're at the either side of the opening siren and the final siren. So their biggest lead was the first goal of the game in the first minute of the game in the first quarter, whereas our biggest lead was the eventual result of 36 points, which happened at the 29th minute mark of the fourth quarter, which is the last one, of course. So they're the main stats that were of any difference. Most of the others were all very, very similar.
So, Vince, it's nearly time for your challenge. So,
okay. Well, I think I can just hear some rumblings going on in the background. So I think the first of the Alan Tunney are coming very, very shortly.
Let's just go through this.
That could be interesting. Haven't been a long life.
That's good, right, David. It'll burn his mouth. So a few weeks ago, we set Vince a challenge. He's going to try and eat 15 arancini in 15 minutes. And we would like as many people to donate to the 15 for 15 challenge. And you'll see the website there. It's 15for15.com.au. David, you tell me that there's a new prize.
Yeah, we've actually been donated very kindly by some good friends of mine who I met in Tasmania to start with, and they live in Queensland now. But Andrew and Louise Claxton have donated their apartment on the Sunshine Coast for 7 nights, and the value of that's around about $1,500, I think, for 7 nights up there. So at the trying to think of the. Can't think of the actual place, but it's about 50 to 100 yards from the beach, and you're right in it there. So I'll
look at this.
Where it is again.
So the feast has arrived.
The feast has arrived. Look at the size of these
decent
things.
size. That's all right.
How am I going to eat 15 of these? That's like a main, an entree, main, and dessert all in one plate. Anyway.
So David, we're going to have a bit of peace and quiet for 15 minutes.
All right, Joe, that's enough.
So someone wants to know what flavours are the arancini?
Bolognese.
Bolognese? Yum. Yeah. Okay, Vince, so it's 4:47. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You got till 2 minutes past 5.
Here's the first one.
Go.
Right, go.
I'm sure someone will be having the clock on this, so...
Don't worry, I'm sure they will.
All right. So, David...
Don't mind me, I'll just eat.
Yeah, now the boys can talk. Where did we win the game, David? What pleased you about Thursday night?
What pleased me was our ability to maintain their strengths, I suppose, and it's good to see us using a tagger at the moment. Chincotta being used over the last few weeks as a designated tagger. He went to Butters and put him out of business really in a lot of ways. And I love having a tagger in a team. I think they're invaluable, and I hate seeing, a couple of weeks ago we saw Dacos and what he could do, in that Collingwood game, and I was sure he wouldn't have been able to do that if Chincotta had been playing on him and nullifying him. So he's a revelation really in what he's become now, and he's become a vital part of our team. Which, going back at the start of the year, he wasn't part of the 22. He's one who's basically forced his way in there and by his deeds. So good on him, and that keeps someone else out. So pressure for spots is going to be fantastic. But look, to be perfectly honest, at 3/4 time, and my next door neighbour and myself, he's Mag Carlton supporter. We text him between matches and that night. I texted him at 3/4 time and I said, we need Paddy Cripps big time here. I said, he's got to have a monster, last quarter. And God, wasn't that a good prediction, because he just come out and kicked 2 goals, set us alight. And he hadn't done a huge amount before then, but he was fantastic in that last quarter, and we really needed him in that last quarter. He was a player who is probably the one who we needed to stand up, and he did, which was fantastic. So it was a great result in the end of 6-goal win. But the other thing, I just want to mention one more thing. I was glad that we didn't get 3 goals ahead and start going negative. We kept piling on the pressure and kept playing the game right out to the end. I mean, you keep putting goals on the board and you put the game out of reach of the opponent. And I think at times we've got to that, 3 goals, 20 points ahead, and just decided to throw Charlie to the back line and go negative. And, so it's good to see us play the game right out to the end as well.
It was. I just wanted to go back to the role of Chincotta. In the modern day, there's not many taggers. Like in your day, there were a lot of taggers. Do you think that that's a lost art? Like, do you think players don't know how to play that role, or do you just think the coaches don't want to coach it, or why don't many other teams do it?
The coaches actually say that it upsets their balance in how they want to play, because they want to play their way. And so by having a tagger and throwing him into the middle, for example, upsets the whole rhythm of what they're trying to get out of their midfield. So, which I disagree with. I mean, it's horses for courses. And if you've got a bloke in the midfield, I mean, Chincotta could go back and play on the back line next week on a dangerous forward, which he's done. I mean, he's had some dangerous forwards that he's been able to play on and nullify them. So the good thing is we can throw him in the middle when we need to and put him back. But I think where he's starting too, he wasn't starting in those centre bounces. He was going to Butters after the ball had been bounced. So that's a way of dealing with the pressure of that midfield. How you want to have it at a centre bounce. But yeah, I think it's great to see, that they're starting to experiment and do a few things different. And I hate seeing the best player for the opposition run around and get easy kicks. So it really annoys everyone, I think. So, that's one strategy that's working well for us at the moment. And the other one is Williams down forward.
Yeah, he's revelation, isn't he?
Well, he was almost out the door, and probably the thing that might have saved him was the lack of our small forwards being able to dominate down there. And you may as well throw someone with a bit more experience and ability, I suppose, down there. And it's worked 7 goals in 2 weeks. So that's been a great move as well. So, you got to try things from time to time. You can't just get set in your ways, and Vossi's prepared to do some things different.
And for those of you who have just joined us, you can see Vince in the background. He's trying to eat 15 arancini in 15 minutes. Give us a finger. How many have you had, Vince? 1 or 2, 3?
No, I've had 6 so far already.
What?
6. How many minutes has that been?
6 minutes.
How many minutes you got to go?
No, he's got 9 minutes to go.
To go.
I've got to do 1 per minute, Joe.
Okay, he's on track. He's on track.
Don't
talk with him out.
Yeah, listen to your elders. David, you're a big rap for Mark Pitnet in the team, and he hasn't been in the last 2 weeks. How do you think TDK has gone, and what do you think that says for the future? We're hearing rumours that he's injured. I don't know if anyone confirm or anything, but are you bringing him straight back?
Well, it depends. It becomes horses for courses. I mean, people have got to earn their spot now, and it's right across the board, because the other side of that is Harry Mackay going on the ball from time to time. He's been a bit of a revelation, and he seems to enjoy that, doing a bit of ruck work from time to time. So some of those big forwards, they don't like the fact of getting into those ruck contests, and but Harry doesn't seem to mind it. So. I mean, at one stage on I think it was Ollie Wines and Kennedy going for a ruck ball sort of thing. So it shows how much credence they're putting into ruck work at the moment. But TDK's been fantastic over the last 2 weeks, and I think the reason why is because his follow-up work. Not necessarily winning, as we saw before, all the hit-outs or anything, but he follows the ball up. As soon as it hits the ground, he's watching where the ball's going and following it up. And his enthusiasm is fantastic, but Jesus, jumping for that ball with 1 minute to go and with 6 goals up and landing on his – you're just thinking, what are you doing, kid? I don't know what he hurt or whether he is hurt, but hopefully he's not. But if he is, then Pitnek comes in, and but it can work with both. I still think it can work with both, and that'll be something that is a bonus in some ways. It's something we can try, and we've got some games that we can really look at those things coming in, in the back end of the season.
David, how do you think the umpires went with this new interpretation of holding the ball?
I didn't think it was too bad, and the one reason I don't think it was too bad is because they made a decision and they made it early. They were blowing the whistle early on tackles rather than – and I think if you go back and look at games in the 80s, early 90s sort of thing, they were blowing the whistle early. They could see the ball was getting, into a position that was going to be a bit of a scrum. And instead of allowing it to become a game of rugby, basically, and blokes, holding one on and holding them out, they were able to, I just think blowing the whistle early in those situations, ball it up or give a free and get on with it sort of thing. So, I'm quite happy with that.
What do you think of Kemp's game down back? I thought he played quite well, kicked a goal. And one thing I'll tell you what when I coached, when I finished playing, I loved backmen going down and kicking goals, and I'd give them license to. I always thought, geez, you're playing good footy if your backmen are going down and kicking goals, because it shows a lot of confidence
to be able to get down there, release yourself from the back line and get down there. So your team's playing good footy, and we're two of them. We're Kemp and McGovern, both kick goals. So that's a great sign from my point of view anyway. And when I'd like to see Sard and blokes like that getting involved as well. I think in the last week or two, I think we've had Boyd having shots on goal as well. So good to see, I think, and it shows that they're prepared to take some risks and run off their men when they're when they're able to. What about our superstar Sammy Walsh? Yep, he's an absolute beauty. He just keeps going, doesn't he? And he went for 4 quarters again. That was just a 4-quarter effort. He just doesn't stop. And I don't know. We could talk about him alone each week, sort of thing, because he's just an absolute star. And I think we've just got to hope he holds up for the rest of the season, and his back is in good nick too. So he'll be looking for the bye, I suppose, for the rest, the week's rest, and I think there'll be a few of them, but we're going to get over Essendon this week, and I think hopefully Essendon got a lot of pain coming because they haven't beaten much so far, and they got beat by a good team today, and they'll play an even better one next week. Someone beat me to the punch. Nick Newman has been very consistent this year, hasn't he? Very good pickup from the Swans. Nick Newman is in all-Australian form at the moment. He is in fantastic form. I think did he get in the squad last year? Was he in the all-Australian squad? I couldn't tell you. One of our viewers. I've got a feeling he might have been, and I thought he had a fantastic year last year, but this year he's just continued on. He is a terrific footballer. As our back line, consistent. Consistent. As our back line gets better with Sard and McGovern coming back in there, it's able to release Newman, and he plays with a lot of courage. But he's got a little bit of go in him too. He upsets blokes down there. I don't know whether he's yapping or whether he's niggling or whatever he's doing down there, but he upsets the opposition as well. So he does, doesn't he? I like a little bit of niggle in the game as well. So good on him. And as I said, he in that small backman role, I couldn't find another player in the competition who's playing better than him. Bit like another Swan that we picked up, don't you think, David? Little niggle. Long Greg Williams. You. Greg went everywhere. Geelong, Swans. No, I was thinking about yourself. I just thought of Sard did consistent since as his first game back. I suppose he'll be better for the run. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sardi's every time he gets the ball, he does something with it, and he's exciting. You love getting the ball in his hands, and he's one of those players who, as the season rolls on, we're going to hope he stays out there, but he's just going to get better and better, and he's a quality footballer. That's when you bring Sard and McGovern back into a back line that was, Wiedering was really holding that back line together for, when it was getting stretched, but having those two back, it's just quality in there that makes life a lot easier for Weeders and for the rest of them back there. So, and the more players, put it this way, when we get Chera back in that midfield, we are we're probably 10, 15% better midfield, which is scary in a lot of ways, but because he's such a quality player, you just, you're getting better all the time. So, our best is pretty bloody good, and I'm looking forward to all these blokes coming back from injury and staying fit and fresh. Motlop run around in the twos, I think, today, and didn't have many possessions, so he's got a bit to go. So, these guys are going to get back into the team. Jack Martin's another one. You've got to get back into the team, and the players in there, they'll be desperate, especially those ones who are, borderline type players. They'll be desperate to hold their spots. Is that the last one? So you've seen the background. I don't believe we want proof that you've eaten 15 arancini.
I haven't gone anywhere.
But you got 1 minute to
Come on.
You got 1 minute to get that down, Vince.
He's eating it. Go on, shove it in your mouth, quick.
Got a minute.
How much time have I got left?
1 minute.
1 minute. Come on, shove it in.
Come on, Vince. Shove it in. So, people, Vince has completed the 15 for 15 challenge. So get into 15for15.com.au. I'm sure all these donations are tax deductible, as well as you can enter into the raffle to win a week. Is it a weekend, David, at Gold Coast?
No, week's accommodation. Accommodation on the Sunshine Coast, and you're about 100 yards from the. I still can't remember the bloody name of
Vince,
the place.
looks like you can go another 15.
No way.
No? Yeah. It's a great place. I've actually stayed there, and it's a great spot. You can go on the socials, on my socials, and you can look up where it is. And 7 nights accommodation up there on the Sunshine Coast, and that's fantastic. To be one for anyone who donates $15 or more to the 15 for 15. And
it's going to a good cause also, isn't it, Vince?
Yep. The Port Adelaide Association of Victoria, and it's going to very good use there.
Hey, Vince, where do you want to go for dinner?
He's making me hungry. I'm going out for dinner tonight with my daughter.
I've got to tell you, they were delicious. So I got them from a place called the Melbourne Arancini Company in Tullamarine, which would.
How come they didn't sponsor us?
But I'll tell you what, couldn't have gone another one.
Hey, Vince, give us 5 minutes summary of the game, because we've got to keep moving to let David go soon.
Of course.
Go.
Well, I mean, I guess, as I said at the start, we faced a very stiff test over there against quality opposition on their territory, hostile territory with a parochial home crowd. And I felt that we passed the test in every way that Michael Voss would have been wanting to see. And look, at times they looked threatening when they got the ball on the outside and they started running with it and passing it to each other. It looked like if they could get the game on their terms for long enough, we might have been in trouble. But to be frank, I was never that bothered at any stage. I always was confident that we'd end up winning, but I never saw that last quarter coming to the extent that it did. No. And that just goes to show you, I think you've got to give credit. This guy probably cops a lot of criticism from a lot of people, Andrew Russell. But when you get a team like ours to have only a 5-day break and have to travel interstate as well, and then to not only withstand all the pressure that the opposition gave us for 3 quarters, but to slam on 8 goals in that last quarter was testament to just how fit and on top of the ground our players were running for the majority of that game. And I just thought we were full of running, and if you had another quarter, we probably would have won by 10 goals. But I think it augurs well now for the rest of the season, and there's not any opposition that actually should worry. When I say should worry us, I'm sure we'll still lose the odd game here and there, but I don't think that we're going to come across opposition that are going to belt us like that, that game against Sydney.
No. Hey, Vince, as you know, David's on a bit of a tight schedule, so let's get to the votes, and then I want to get his thoughts on the Essendon game. So here we go. David?
Yeah, Sam Walsh, just for his 4-quarter effort, he was just fantastic all night. I didn't have Cripper in for a third. I didn't think I did.
Yeah, you got Cripper.
He's got him around the wrong way, Rhys. We've picked up his mistake.
Okay. Yeah, because I had Tom DeConning. Tom DeConning, I think, was fantastic in the fact that he just really competed well against, Soldo looked okay early and looked a bit of a danger sort of thing. But TDK, he's almost like having a ruck rover in there. Once he finishes his ruck work, he follows up and he was well deserved of 2 votes. And I give my 1 vote, not to Patrick Cripps, but to Nick
Newman. Okay, sorry.
Yep. You got me and Rhys the other way around. I gave mine to Cripps.
Okay. Sorry about that.
I didn't give mine to Cripps only because he I thought he went okay the first 3 quarters, but as I said, I texted me next door neighbour and said, Cripps, just going at the moment. We need something out of him in the last quarter. And boy, didn't he produce it. He was fantastic. And,
all right. So, Vince, you had Walsh, DeConning, Cripps. Is that right? I've
Correct.
read this wrong.
That's all right.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Well,
I had Sam Walsh. I thought Nick Newman played a good game, and I thought Tom DeConning did well. I don't know. That Ivan Soldo, every time he went for the ruck, he just looked at DeConning. He wasn't even looking at the ball. So I don't understand the rucks because sometimes they give holding free kicks and then other times they don't. But anyway, it doesn't affect. Sorry, Vince.
Okay.
Oh, new
No,
leader.
I was just going to say something about my votes. Look, I gave Walsh my 3, but I've got to tell you that there is a part of his game that I think needs improvement. Especially in that first half. Especially in that first half, there were more than one occasion. In fact, probably on 2 or 3 different occasions, he just blasted away into the inside 50 straight to a Port Adelaide player. And I just think that he's just got to be careful that his delivery into the forward line isn't that spasmodic. In fact, his disposal efficiency on the night was something like 52%. So. Yeah. He's just got to be careful that he doesn't butcher the ball. He gets a lot of it. And look, I still gave him my 3. I still thought he was the most influential player on the ground. And for anything, it was his 13 tackles that probably got him over the line with my 3 votes. But he's just got to watch that efficiency with the ball.
I'm just going to defend him a little bit because, I do agree with you. He can butcher the ball at times, but he would be absolutely knackered when he's kicking the ball because he works that bloody hard. He runs that hard, and as you say, the tackles and everything else, he puts his body on the line for his teammates. He does everything, but I'll forgive him for that. If he keeps getting the ball and getting it our way, I'll forgive him. I'll forgive him because he works that bloody hard.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, he got his 34 possessions, and I just thought Cripps for impact, as you said, just when we needed him to really step up. He was enormous in that last quarter. It's been a long time since we've seen someone dominate a quarter like he did in the last.
Anyway, so our leaderboard, Sam Walsh has rocketed to the lead on 39. And don't forget, he missed the first 2 games. Then you got Patrick Cripps, 36, Harry Mackay, 33, Blake Acres, 22. And then in equal 5th position, we've got Nick Newman and Jacob Wiedering. Okay, boys, next week. Oh, sorry.
Spirit of Carlton, Maud. Yes, so you beat me to the punch there, but we did need someone to stand up at 3/4 time, and there was one bloke who we needed, and that's why he gets this award. It was just a phenomenal. It was fantastic. His last quarter. I shouldn't have tried to say that, should I? But
you've been having too many beers under the Ravanda.
You're making me hungry, Vince. I'm bloody starving. I'm going to dinner shortly, and I'm watching you chop food down. They looked all right too. But no, he had a fantastic last quarter, and that's what we needed. We need our good players to stand up when they need to, and he certainly did that. It was what a quarter, what a great quarter for Carlton, but also for him.
Okay, so next week. Now I might have the time wrong here because as everyone knows, I'm in Bangkok, and it says on here it's 4:00. Is the game next weekend at 7:00 on a Sunday?
Yeah, 7:00
on a Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's before the long weekend. It's a long weekend over
7:30. 7:30.
Oh, okay. So I am right. It's 7:30 on Sunday night at the G.
Yeah.
Okay.
King's birthday weekend, so there's a public holiday the next day.
So we had the first of these last year on the Sunday night, being the eve of King's birthday public holiday, and it looks like it's going to become a regular fixture, similar to the Melbourne-Richmond game, which happens on Anzac Day Eve every year now. So looks like Essendon and Carlton might hold this fixture for the time.
They're saying there'll be over 90,000 there. So you keep getting 90,000 in, they'll keep putting it there.
Exactly.
And Patrick Hahn's right, everyone. Buy a 15 for 15 raffle ticket.
There you go. Good idea.
It's not actually a raffle ticket. Just donate $15 and on the donation part of it. And that's.
So, boys, what do you think of next weekend?
I'm looking forward to it. Not only because we need percentage. I just think we can have a good win next week. I think we're in the sort of form where we can belt a team. I haven't seen the injury list yet because I'm wondering whether Ben Mackay actually got injured today or not, because that might make life interesting, or whether he's the two of them have never played against each other ever.
I know.
Do you reckon that's been a deliberate ploy on behalf of both brothers not to play against each other?
No, it wouldn't be. No. They'd want to be. They'd be looking forward to it, but it's been great to talk about and say there's only one. There's only one Mackay, and he plays for both of them. I mean, it adds to the theatre of it all. But
hang on,
I'd be wrapping them both up in bubble wrap this week, because you wouldn't.
Maybe it's the same person.
Yeah, and geez, it'd be good if you could play both ends, wouldn't it? Like they both do. But it's going to be interesting, because he'll have to line up on his brother, and that in itself will be fascinating. So,
and who do you think's going to get Charlie?
Yeah, I haven't had a good think about that yet, but I think one of them will get off the leash and
surely it'd have to be Ridley, wouldn't it?
You'd think so.
Ridley, the one that came back last week.
Come back very well, yeah. But he's a good intercept defender too, so you might not want to sacrifice him playing a tight role and let him float around there. But whichever way they do it, we've got two weapons down there. So
or Redmond. Or Redmond might get him.
Redmond, yep.
On Charlie?
Maybe.
Not sure if he's tall enough.
Well, who else? Unless you put 2 metre Pete down there, but then that takes away their goal kick.
No, not going to happen. No, the only other option they might have is to put Kyle Langford down back instead of up forward, but I think he gives them too much up. I
think they'll play with a pretty settled team that they've had most of the year, and they'll go into the game with a reasonable amount of confidence too. Back at home, and they played well at the MCG this year. So big.
Maybe the loss against Gold Coast this evening might sting them into action next week. You never know. Sometimes
it could do.
That's what teams need. They haven't had a loss for a long time, Essendon.
Yeah, I just don't think they're as good as what their position on the ladder is. So I think that's what will start to show out once they got a tough road home. So they could miss finals, and they did it last year too. So you never know.
Here's a question for you, David. Did you like beating Essendon in the 80s?
Of course he did.
I did, but I preferred beating Collingwood, to be honest. It's funny. There's a new generation now of Carlton supporters who hate Essendon more than they hate Collingwood, and I can understand it. I mean, you got to hate Collingwood the most, and then whoever else second. But I got a lot of good mates, back in those days. Terry Danaher and Paul Vanderhaar and Glenn Hawker and blokes like that. They're ripper blokes. I enjoy it.
That's because you used to have drinking competitions at the pub with them.
Yeah, they're good blokes. I mean, out in the field, you went hard at it, but off the field,
and you went hard at it off the field too, I heard.
We certainly did, yeah, no doubt about it.
David, you have to leave us in a couple of minutes. So, in a nutshell, why will Carlton win, and by how much?
I think we'll have a real good win. I reckon 40 plus. So I'm going to say 43 points. 43. Swan Mackay sounds pretty good to me.
Okay. Anthony Koutafidis.
I think Anthony Koutafidis. Yeah, a couple of bloody rippers there, isn't it? Hey? 43, good number. But I really think that we should have a good win next week, and I think we're in very good form. And the other thing is we need percentage. Our percentage, if we want to finish top 4, it'd be a damn shame if we, finish 5th equal on percentage with about 3 or 4 other teams who are, the Swans seem to have kicked clear, but the rest of us are all pretty close together. So percentage is going to come into positions at the end of the season, and, this could be a game we could get some.
Vince, you always want me to go. I'll say Carlton by 4 goals.
Carlton 4 goals.
I can't tip.
Okay. Rhys is going for Carlton by about 7 goals.
I can never tip Essendon.
Carlton Essendon games have got this happy knack of being really close, tight tussles that don't get There's not much separation between the teams. It doesn't matter where we are on the ladder. So I'm going to go for a close one. I'm still going to go for Carlton, but I'm going to go for Carlton by 7 points.
All right, there you go.
All right.
Brings us to the tipping ladder. I let you guys in last week. I should have tipped. I was going to tip Carlton, but you wanted to catch me.
Oh,
So
you tipped Port Adelaide, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I was looking good there at one stage. So the tipping ladder is
why don't you go for Essendon this week?
I can't. I would rather commit suicide before I said that. If there's anyone else, no, not even Collingwood. I couldn't even tip. I can't tip Collingwood against us. So, that's suicidal, Vince. So my family wouldn't talk to me ever again, and rightly so. So.
It's come that time when we've got to say goodbye to Rhys.
I've got to go. Thanks, guys. Go the Mighty Blues, and we'll see you Monday, aren't we? We're next week.
Yeah,
next week.
And people, don't forget the 15 for 15 challenge. Please donate. Rhys done a lot for the club, so I'm sure it's time to pay back. David, have an enjoyable evening with the family, guys. And thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Happy birthday to Maddie.
See you, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Righto. Yes, as Rhys put it, we are not going to be doing our show while Carlton's playing Essendon.
Why not?
That'd be pretty silly, wouldn't it? We could do a watch along, Joe. You and me can do a watch along. No, I don't think so.
Thanks.
I can't stand those shows. Anyway, we'll be on Monday night at 7:30 after the Melbourne Collingwood game. About an hour and a half after the Collingwood Melbourne game finishes at the MCG. So take note, everyone. Next Monday, the 10th of June, that's the King's birthday public holiday, 7:30 p.m. That's when we go live.
And for those of you who just joined us, Vince is looking for dinner invitations for this evening. He's feeling a bit peckish after eating 15 arancini in 15 minutes.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm absolutely full as a goog after that. I couldn't eat another arancini, I can tell you that. No.
Are you going to take the lovely Tanya out for dinner?
No. She made me the arancini and brought them in. They were delicious. They were very nicely done, by the way, I've got to say. Anyway.
Hey, Vince, there were some other games on this weekend.
We'll raise a bit of money for a good cause.
Yeah. There were some games on this weekend.
Yes, indeed. And we saw, of course, after our game on the Thursday night, we saw another result that would have warmed the hearts of Carlton supporters, where the Western Bulldogs defeated Collingwood eventually. I mean, tell you what, the Pies were in the game for a long way, but a 5-0-0 last quarter ended up deciding that one. 15-10, 100 to Collingwood, 12-10, 82.
And next,
then, of course, on Saturday afternoon, we saw the Hawks continue their great form, 16-11, 107, and the Adelaide Crows now with probably no hope of making the finals. I think that's pretty much season over now. 12 goals, 880. Not a very good performance, and they're at the crossroad, the Adelaide Crows, I think.
Keep going.
Now, in the twilight zone, we had the West Coast Eagles and St Kilda over in Perth, and the Saints finally got back on the winning list, scoring 12 goals, 10-82 in a gutsy second half performance to overcome West Coast, 10 goals, 8-68, and a lot of controversy around young Harley Reid committing a couple of indiscretions. Anyway, then we've got the game at Cardinia Park, or what is known now as GMHBA Stadium in Geelong, eventually getting over Richmond in the second half, although they were pretty plucky, the Tigers, for the first half.
Yeah, I thought they'd be stiff.
Yeah, Geelong 15-9, 99, back on the winning list after 4 losses in a row, to Richmond 10-9, 69.
Next.
Yes, then today, of course, we saw, gee whiz, this was the real shock of the round, if you ask me. I mean, gee whiz, what did they do? Go up there and get lost in a corroboree or something down there in Melbourne? 7-7-49, pretty insipid, to the Fremantle Dockers, who finally played some offensive, exciting football. 22 goals, 9, 141, a 92-point belting, and that's kicked Melbourne out of the 8. So that'll be panic stations there after that one, and they're going to need to really respond on the King's birthday public holiday when they play Collingwood in that blockbuster. So, yeah, be interesting to see which of those two teams wins and which encounters another loss, because they're both going to be coming off losses. And in the final game, we saw the Gold Coast Suns 14-7, 91 with far better kicking for goal than Essendon, 11-14, 80 to inflict the Bombers' first loss for quite a number of weeks. And, the Gold Coast Suns by 11 points, and they're now, I believe, back in the 8. And
now, hang on.
Essendon
Here's a bit of comedy,
won't
Vince.
go down the ladder, but, they would have expected to win that one.
Here's a bit of comedy for you. Ben McKay has withdrawn from the Carlton Essendon clash due to I can't be bothered on playing on myself, so I'll withdraw.
Very funny, Peter V. Bagger. I love it's good to
before
see
we get to the
coming in.
Before we get to the ladder, I would just like to thank Darcy from the Western Bulldogs, except he didn't put the guy out for smashing into Maynard. He is I hate him more than I hate Hayden Ballantyne, more than I hate Toby Green. I can't stand the prick. Anyway, should have knocked him out. Yeah, he's annoying. Anyway.
Well, I'll tell you who he knocked out. Poor old Angus Brayshaw, and basically retired him after knocking him out in that final last year.
Yeah, umpires should be allowed one free hit on Maynard at least a game. Yeah, I agree. Maybe 2. All right, Vince, let's get to the ladder.
Okay, here we have
We've got the imbalances again because of the buys and stuff.
Well, we had 4 teams have a buy, so everyone's going to end up having a buy by the end of round 14, I think it is. So we've got, or it might be 15. We've got Sydney on top still, even though they did not play this weekend. On 40 points, 10 wins and only the 1 loss, and a huge percentage of 150.1. Probably feeling pretty good about themselves, especially seeing Essendon lost and didn't make up any ground on them. So Essendon retained second position, but with a poor percentage of 102, looking very vulnerable the minute they start losing another one. So if we can beat them next weekend, I dare say they'll drop down at least a couple of spots.
They'll drop to about 5th or 6th.
Yeah, Geelong, Port Adelaide, even though they lost to us, and now Carlton matching Port Adelaide now on 32 points. Those 3 teams only separated on percentage. Then Fremantle, after their big win, go up to 6th on the ladder and a nice healthy percentage in the 120s now. GWS did not play this weekend, so they're still there on 28 in 7th. And Gold Coast have snuck back into the 8 after their win tonight against Essendon. Outside the 8, Collingwood, only on percentage to Gold Coast. So
and Melbourne.
They've got 28 points, and Melbourne have as well. But, geez, hasn't Melbourne's percentage taken a battering after that loss? Then the Western Bulldogs, who have won their last 3, they're back in contention for a spot in the 8, and they've got a pretty healthy percentage as well. So if they can keep winning, you never know with them. And the other side that's a bit of a smoky is Hawthorn. I actually think you could rule a line there at the top 12. I know Brisbane didn't play, so they've got a game in hand, but I just don't know about Brisbane. They're just not travelling the way we all expected at the start of this year. And a bit like Adelaide, they're just losing matches that you expect them to win. Not travelling all that well. They're on 18. Adelaide's on 16, I think. Or was it on 18? Sorry, I'm trying to read this. 18, actually. So they're both on 18, Brisbane and Adelaide. Then St Kilda had a win, finally, after quite a few weeks. They're up to 16 points now. West Coast on 12. And then a couple of games to Richmond, who look like, for all money, they're going to finish in the bottom 2, along with North Melbourne, who still haven't won a game and didn't play this weekend. So there's your AFL ladder. I think we can almost safely say it's down to position number 12 on the ladder, and all the others probably can't make the finals.
Okay. Hey, Vince, it's now time for Vince's verdict. Big Vincenzo's verdict. Who are you going to take aim? Now, I've been told I want to fire you up, so who are you going to take aim at? I'm going to take the opposite view.
Well, look, Joe, in all honesty, I haven't really prepared one this week. So, but I will say this much. What I noticed this week is that already that holding the ball rule is already, I think, showing itself to be a good change. I think most people can probably agree that it's kept the game moving a lot better when the umpires are paying holding the ball free kicks, even though it might be marginal at times as to whether the players had enough time to dispose of it and had prior opportunity. I think on the whole, they've actually handled this change pretty well. So I'm actually going to give them a bit of a pat on the back this week, the umpires, after I thought last week was a shocker. I think that by and large, the holding the ball rule has been properly adjusted. It was just taking far too long to make decisions on some occasions, and even at the threat of putting players in danger. Because if the umpire just wasn't blowing the whistle, tackles would continue and continue and continue, and arms were being held in chicken wing tackles and all that sort of thing. So I think that change has certainly been a welcome one this weekend. Okay. The one thing I'm going to have a go at is yet again how much longer is the names of all of the teams going to continue being on the AFL ladder in Aboriginal languages?
No, they're in English.
No, they're not.
Hello.
Did you put them back? Did you? Oh, did you put them back? Did you?
No, the AFL did.
Oh, that's good. Okay, well, that's fair enough. I still saw them. I mean, I still see things like when you look at the fixtures, they still say that it's at Icon Park, and then they'll have some Aboriginal word after it. I don't know what is the need for that.
I don't know. I have
I don't understand it. I don't. We've done the Sir Doug Nicholls thing. Can we get back to being in English? The English is the language of the country. So I don't understand all this other business.
Okay. Hey, Vince. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but when I do this in PowerPoint and put it up, the highlighting doesn't come out properly. But anyway.
What?
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Yes, Joey, our bet came off. I picked the right 4 games. You know what? A couple of the other games, I got them wrong. So I chose the right 4 games to put in the multi this week, and it came off. How good was that? So I only put $5 on it this time instead of the usual 10.
So you had Carlton against Port Adelaide, which is a win.
And we were
Western Bulldogs against Collingwood, a win. Geelong against Richmond, a win. And a Gold Coast against Essendon, a win.
Yes.
So before today's bet,
back up to $148. That's pretty good.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Don't know for how long.
Anyway, this week's bets, Vince.
Okay, we're back up to 6 legs again. We're going to go for Adelaide to bounce back because I think they really need to. This is the last of the Thursday night games for the entire season. After next round, we will not have any more Thursday night games until possibly round 1 of the finals. They tend to do a Thursday night game as well as a Friday night and then 2 Saturday games, normally a Saturday twilight and a Saturday evening game. So that's in week 1 of the finals. But until the finals, this will be the last of the Thursday night fixtures. Adelaide to beat Richmond. Then we're going for Hawthorn to beat GWS. Now, what's the what have you done with the price there, Joe?
So it's just 2.6.
It should be 2.6. Okay.
Yeah.
$2.60. Yes.
Yep.
So we're going for the outsiders. Hawthorn are in absolutely red hot form. Now, I know the GWS have had the rest, and they're a damn good side. But the way Hawthorn are going and the way they're playing, I reckon they're a big show next weekend. St Kilda, we're going for them to pull off another upset at home, this time against Gold Coast, who just do not travel very well at all. So we're going for them as an outsider. Then we're going to go for Sydney at home to beat Geelong after they've had a rest with the bye. Essendon Carlton, we're going for Carlton to beat the Bombers, of course. And finally, we're going to go for Melbourne after that shock 92-point loss against Fremantle to come back and defeat Collingwood in the King's Birthday blockbuster. I think Collingwood still has so many injuries that it's probably affecting them. So we're going for Melbourne to beat them. So if all of these come off,
that's 196.20. I've left out the 6.
Yes, it should be.
That's where that up there. Yeah. So,
yes.
so the pay it's a $10 bet.
It's gonna. What are we going to get back? $119.
$196.20.
$196. Well, wouldn't that be nice in the kitty? So let's see.
And then we can play. So anyway, all right. Hey Vince,
yes,
the
mate.
time has come, my friend.
It has.
You've got to go to dinner.
We're going to sign off. No, I've had my dinner.
You got to go to dinner.
I have more than had my dinner.
But before we go, just let's do a little bit of admin.
Yep.
Don't forget the Jumper Punch live. All you people, June 15. From what I'm led to believe, tickets are still available, but going fast. So for all of you who want to go, it's $20 if you just sit, and it's not on the floor, but it's just
show
like a
only.
seat.
Show
only. And then it's $55 per person at a table.
And that includes a show. It includes a show and a meal.
Yeah. So the Jumper Punch Live, I'm sure the boys will be promoting it on their show on Tuesday night. Shows this week, Monday, 6 p.m. These are all on the Jumper Punch Facebook page, Facebook and YouTube. So you've got Monday at 6, double. That should be hotting up with the NBA finals and all that coming through. Then on Tuesday, we've got the Jumper Punch with the boys who will be promoting their show. Wednesday, we've got Rockin' the Burbs, followed by Forever Rivals with the other 3 scum teams, Essendon Scum, Colleague the Filth, and Richmond Yellow and Crap. That's what I like to call them.
Yes.
Thursday, we've got our friend from he's not in the sandpit now. He's back in Melbourne, Sam and Rash, DJ Rash. And then I had a good conversation with Rash yesterday. And then the Jewel in the Crown, Vince, Sunday evening, you've got us. But next Sunday we will not be on because it's a long weekend and Carlton are playing. So we will be on Monday evening at 7:30. But I'll put a note on that.
Yep.
Don't forget, hit the like, share, and subscribe on Facebook at Blue Sunday. Also the Jumper Punch, and we are proudly brought to you on the Jumper Punch channel.
And before you go any further,
hang on, last one.
Right.
Don't forget the 15 for 15. Vince, 8:15 arancini in 15 minutes. There is a new prize, so donate $15. You go into the draw to win a week's accommodation in Noosa. Yes, Vince, what did you want to say?
There you go. Well, look, we haven't had much of an opportunity to quote many of our viewers' comments and questions and all that sort of thing. So I just thought I'd scan them here and just give a big shout out to a whole number of them. Please forgive me if I leave you out. We appreciate all of you who watch every week, and we look forward to your comments. But Sandra McDonald, Lana Owens, DC,
Johnny Russell,
Tony Amadeo, Tony Tashi, Johnny Russell, is it?
Yeah, Johnny Russell's there. Peter V. Bluebagger.
Darren, Petra Khan. Great to see all of our regulars here with us week after week. We love you guys, and we really appreciate your input. Toby Crook, of course, and Brian.
And Rat
Gavin.
Poison.
Yes, we love you too, Rat Poison. Don't know about your name, but we certainly appreciate the loyalty.
Yeah.
Lone Wolf as well, who joined us. Naz, He was on earlier. Eduardo. So I think we've pretty much covered them. Jimmy, is that Jimmy Raptus?
Yeah.
Look, there's a whole host of them too that I probably left out, but
they know who they are.
Your
We know.
involvement. You all know who you are, and we really appreciate your involvement. And we'll try and quote a few more of your comments in future shows. Join us on Monday Monday week, of course, straight after the Melbourne Collingwood game, and we'll wrap up the Essendon Carlton game, whether it's win, lose, or draw. Let's hope it's a big win for Carlton because we're really looking the goods at the moment, and I think we can all look forward with a lot of enthusiasm to the second half of the year.
So, until next week, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And go Blues.
Absolutely. Go Blues.
You down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous